Paul Heyman was born on September 11, 1965, in Scarsdale, New York, to Sulamita and Richard S. Heyman. And from the very beginning of his life, he demonstrated the kind of restless curiosity, intellect, and ambition that would later come to define his multifaceted career in professional wrestling and entertainment. Growing up in an environment that valued education, hard work, and creativity, Heyman developed a dual fascination with both the structure of business and the allure of performance. He was not a passive observer of life. Instead, he sought out stories, absorbed lessons from his surroundings, and immersed himself in the mechanics of how narratives shaped perception. His parents encouraged his imagination while instilling discipline, giving him both the freedom to dream and the grounding to pursue those dreams methodically. From his earliest years, Heyman showed a natural ability to connect with people, to articulate ideas, and to weave narratives in a way that drew attention. He was as interested in the academic side of communication as he was in the vibrant spectacle of sports and entertainment, and this combination of intellect and creativity would eventually shape his distinctive career path. Unlike many children who only admired the heroes on television, Heyman analyzed them, dissected their charisma, and studied how performance created emotional connection. These habits, formed in his youth, became the bedrock of his eventual rise as one of the most influential minds in wrestling, where he would blend intellect, strategy, and showmanship into an art form that changed the industry forever. Early fascination with wrestling and media. Heyman's love affair with professional wrestling and media was not casual fandom, but an obsession with understanding the mechanics of storytelling, audience psychology, and spectacle. Even in his teenage years, he displayed a precocious awareness of how narratives were constructed, how personalities could be exaggerated into myth, and how performance could stir emotions in ways that felt larger than life. While his peers enjoyed wrestling as an escape, Heyman was already studying it as a craft. He pored over wrestling magazines, watched television broadcasts with analytical intensity, and began to envision how he might someday contribute to the industry, not as a performer, but as a creator, a storyteller, and a strategist. His interest extended into broader media as well. He experimented with photography, dabbled in radio and print work, and observed the growing intersection of entertainment and commerce in the 1970s and 1980s. This dual exposure gave him a rare perspective. He was as intrigued by the promotional posters, the marketing language, and the behind-the-scenes decisions as he was by the in-ring action. By the time he was a teenager, Heyman was already thinking like a promoter, considering how characters could be elevated, how events could be packaged, and how audiences could be moved not just by athletic displays, but by carefully crafted stories. This early curiosity was not idle. It laid the foundation for his life's work, which would be defined by the fusion of media savvy, business acumen, and a deep understanding of performance psychology. Rise in professional wrestling and promotion. Heyman's formal entry into the wrestling industry came in the mid-1980s, a time when the sport was evolving rapidly with the rise of cable television and the national expansion of WWE, and he quickly found ways to contribute by leveraging his skills as a writer, communicator, and creative thinker. His earliest roles saw him dabble in photography and writing, but he soon transitioned into commentary and creative development, where his ability to craft narratives and articulate storylines became evident. His wit, sharp insight, and commanding voice made him stand out, and it wasn't long before he was trusted with greater responsibilities. What distinguished Heyman from others was not just his eloquence, but his vision. He saw wrestling as more than scripted combat. He saw it as serialized theater, a medium for blending drama, humor, spectacle, and emotional resonance. The defining chapter of his rise came with Extreme Championship Wrestling, ECW, where Heyman was not simply a manager or commentator, but the architect of a revolutionary product. He took what was once a regional operation and transformed it into a cultural phenomenon, presenting wrestling in a way that was raw, gritty, and unapologetically real. ECW pushed boundaries with innovative matches, edgy characters, and a style of storytelling that spoke directly to fans who wanted something different from the mainstream. Heyman cultivated an environment where risk-taking was not only tolerated, but celebrated, allowing emerging talent to find their voices and hone their craft in ways that traditional promotions did not allow. While ECW often struggled financially, its influence on wrestling culture was undeniable, and Heyman's leadership cemented him as a visionary who reshaped the industry by prioritizing authenticity, intensity, and innovation. His ability to take creative risks, elevate underutilized talent, and connect with disillusioned fans set a precedent that still echoes throughout wrestling today. Transition to WWE and corporate adaptation. The eventual closure of ECW brought Heyman to WWE, where he had to adapt his bold, risk-taking philosophy to the structure and expectations of a massive global corporation. This transition was not without challenges, but it revealed his adaptability and strategic acumen. WWE required him to balance creativity with diplomacy, to weave compelling narratives within a framework that was corporate, polished, and layered with logistical complexity. Heyman proved himself capable of doing so, becoming a creative force behind some of WWE's most memorable storylines and characters. His skill in elevating talent was again on display, as he worked with performers ranging from established legends to rising stars, always tailoring his approach to highlight their unique strengths. His work with Brock Lesnar is perhaps the most famous example, where Heyman's promos and presence amplified Lesnar's aura of dominance, creating one of the most enduring acts in modern wrestling. In WWE, Heyman also showed his ability to thrive in a collaborative yet competitive environment, where creative ideas were constantly scrutinized and adapted. His success there demonstrated that he was not simply a maverick promoter, but also a savvy strategist who could operate within the world's biggest wrestling company, proving his versatility and resilience in the ever-shifting landscape of professional wrestling. In-ring incidents and physical strain. Although Heyman has always been celebrated more for his words and creative vision than for physical prowess, his career has not been without physical strain, as managers in wrestling often find themselves unexpectedly drawn into in-ring action. Unlike wrestlers who train daily for the physical demands of competition, managers like Heyman are more vulnerable when storylines call for them to take bumps, and yet he has never shied away from participating when it served the story. Over the years, he has endured his share of impacts, most memorably in moments when his loyalty to storytelling required him to put his body on the line. One particularly significant incident came in June 2024 when he was powerbombed by members of the Bloodline, a storyline moment that carried real physical consequences, reminding fans and peers alike that even managers face real risks when stepping into the ring. Earlier in his career, similar moments, including interactions with physically imposing wrestlers like Bam Bam Bigelow, left him battered and bruised, but unwilling to retreat. These incidents highlight Heyman's dedication to the art of storytelling, his willingness to make sacrifices for dramatic effect, and his understanding that for audiences to fully immerse themselves in a narrative, the danger must feel real. His resilience in enduring these physical challenges underscored his commitment to the craft. And while he was never the athlete his clients were, his willingness to share in the physical consequences of wrestling made him a more authentic and respected figure. Health challenges and hospitalization. Heyman's relentless work ethic and commitment to wrestling have always been central to his career, but they have also taken a toll on his health. In late August or early September of 2025, Heyman was hospitalized due to a severe case of high blood pressure, an episode that brought to light the human fragility behind his larger-than-life persona. For decades, Heyman had lived in the fast lane of wrestling, traveling, managing talent, negotiating behind the scenes, and constantly performing under the scrutiny of millions. This lifestyle, while exhilarating, came with stress and irregular schedules that inevitably affected his well-being. His hospitalization sparked concern across the wrestling community, with fans and peers offering support and reflecting on his contributions to the industry. With medical treatment and lifestyle adjustments, Heyman recovered, but the episode served as a reminder of the importance of balance, even for figures who seem indefatigable in their public lives. His family, wife Marla, and children Azalea and Jacob, stood by him throughout, emphasizing the role of personal support systems in recovery, and reminding the public that behind the wit, intensity, and bravado lies a man whose resilience extends beyond the wrestling stage. For many, this period of Heyman's life highlighted not only his vulnerability, but also his humanity, reinforcing the authenticity that has always made him relatable, despite his often villainous on-screen persona. Financial challenges and industry pressures. Professional wrestling is as financially volatile as it is creatively demanding, and Heyman's career has reflected the complexities of navigating those pressures. His time leading ECW is often remembered not only for its creative brilliance, but also for its financial strain, as independent promotions frequently operate on razor-thin margins. Talent contracts, venue costs, production expenses, and inconsistent revenue streams made sustainability difficult. And while ECW's influence was monumental, its financial model proved unsustainable. For Heyman personally, this experience instilled both scars and lessons, teaching him the harsh realities of balancing creativity with fiscal responsibility. Even in later years, media speculation about his financial stability has surfaced, reflecting broader truths about the unpredictable economics of the wrestling business rather than any specific failings. What has remained consistent, however, is Heyman's resilience in navigating these challenges. He has used his reputation, relationships, and creative insight to secure stability, diversifying his professional endeavors and ensuring continued relevance. His ability to weather financial ups and downs speaks to his pragmatism, negotiation skills, and capacity to adapt, all of which reinforce his legacy not just as a creative genius, but as a survivor in one of the most demanding entertainment industries. Influence as a manager and creative architect. Few figures in wrestling history have had the kind of influence Paul Heyman has wielded as both a manager and a creative mind. On screen, his promos are legendary, delivered with precision, cadence, and emotional depth that turn simple words into moments of history. He knows when to raise his voice, when to pause for dramatic effect, and how to build tension until an arena is hanging on every syllable. As a manager, his ability to adapt his approach to different wrestlers has elevated careers, whether amplifying Brock Lesnar's aura of dominance or guiding new talents like The Vision into compelling story arcs. Behind the scenes, Heyman's role as a mentor has been equally impactful. He has educated younger wrestlers on match psychology, teaching them that storytelling and emotional engagement matter as much as athletic execution. He instills in them an appreciation for pacing, audience connection, and character depth, ensuring they are prepared not just for a single storyline, but for the long-term demands of a career in wrestling. This holistic approach has made him invaluable both on and off screen, and his fingerprints can be seen in the careers of countless performers who have thrived under his guidance. By redefining the role of a manager into something far more sophisticated and integral, Heyman elevated the entire craft, leaving a legacy of artistry, mentorship, and narrative innovation. Legacy and cultural impact. Paul Heyman's legacy in professional wrestling is monumental, representing the transformative power of vision, resilience, and intellect. Where past generations saw managers as peripheral characters, Heyman turned the role into a centerpiece of storytelling, proving that managers could be as compelling and influential as the wrestlers themselves. His cultural impact extends beyond wrestling fans to anyone who appreciates performance, storytelling, and innovation. Heyman's storylines often blurred the line between reality and fiction, creating narratives that were not only entertaining, but also emotionally resonant, engaging audiences in ways that transcended the boundaries of scripted drama. His influence encouraged other promoters, writers, and wrestlers to embrace complexity, authenticity, and depth, raising the standard for storytelling in wrestling as a whole. Beyond the craft itself, Heyman's journey represents resilience in the face of setbacks, innovation in the midst of constraints, and authenticity in a world often defined by artifice. His work has ensured that professional wrestling is recognized not just as spectacle, but as a legitimate form of performance art, combining athleticism, narrative, and psychology into an experience that captivates millions. Family and personal life. Behind the commanding voice and piercing eyes that millions know from television, Paul Heyman is also a husband, father, and family man whose personal life provides the stability and grounding necessary to endure the relentless pace of professional wrestling. His marriage to Marla and his relationship with his children, Azalea and Jacob, serve as anchors amid the chaos of the industry. Family life offers him perspective, reminding him of what matters most beyond the spectacle of the ring. This balance between public persona and private stability enriches his emotional intelligence and informs the way he manages talent, approaches creative challenges, and navigates stress. Wrestling demands much from its performers and architects, but Heyman's dedication to his family underscores a universal truth. No matter how larger-than-life one's public role may seem, personal relationships and grounding support systems are essential for long-term success and well-being. His family has stood by him during hospitalizations, financial challenges, and professional reinventions, offering quiet strength that sustains the public figure fans see. This dimension of Heyman's life reminds audiences that resilience is not forged in isolation, but nurtured through connection, care, and love. Adaptation and continued relevance. The wrestling industry is constantly evolving, with shifting audience preferences, changing media landscapes, and new talent cycles, yet Paul Heyman has remained consistently relevant by embracing adaptation and innovation. He has a gift for identifying emerging stars, for recognizing where cultural tastes are moving, and for shaping narratives that feel both timely and timeless. In an age where digital media and streaming platforms have transformed how fans consume content, Heyman has proven adept at integrating new tools and techniques into his work, while preserving the storytelling principles that define his style. Health challenges have prompted him to focus on roles that maximize his influence without overexerting his body, reflecting the wisdom of longevity and sustainability. He continues to mentor, advise, and guide, ensuring that his creative fingerprint remains embedded in the industry. His adaptability is a lesson in itself. Greatness in wrestling, as in life, is not about resisting change, but about evolving with it while holding fast to core values of authenticity, storytelling, and excellence. Reflection on career and influence. Looking back over Paul Heyman's career, what emerges is a portrait of a man who combined intellect, resilience, and creativity to shape an entire industry. From his precocious beginnings in Scarsdale to his pioneering work with ECW, from his adaptation to WWE's corporate structures, to his enduring influence as a manager and mentor, Heyman has consistently pushed the boundaries of what wrestling could be. His setbacks, financial strain, physical incidents, health challenges only serve to highlight the resilience required to thrive in such a demanding field. Fans and colleagues consistently recognize him as a benchmark of excellence, someone whose words, ideas, and vision have defined eras of wrestling. His influence continues to ripple outward, shaping performers, storylines, and audience expectations in ways that will endure long after he eventually steps away. Heyman embodies the idea that wrestling is not merely about athletic contests, but about storytelling, psychology, and the ability to connect deeply with audiences, lessons that ensure his legacy is both secure and enduring. Current status and outlook. As of late 2025, Paul Heyman remains a pivotal figure in WWE, actively involved in managing the vision, guiding storylines, and mentoring talent, while simultaneously balancing his recovery from high blood pressure with a renewed emphasis on lifestyle adjustments and personal well-being. His role today reflects both his wisdom and his adaptability. He has found ways to maximize his creative contributions while protecting his health and maintaining a sustainable pace. Financially and professionally, he continues to navigate the pressures of the industry with pragmatism and foresight, ensuring that his influence remains undiminished. Fans and colleagues celebrate him not only for his legendary promos and iconic presence, but also for the intelligence, adaptability, and emotional authenticity he brings to every aspect of his work. His story is ongoing, his voice continues to shape narratives, and his vision continues to inspire. Paul Heyman's life and career stand as a living testament to creativity, perseverance, and the enduring power of strategic artistry, ensuring that his influence will be felt across wrestling and beyond for years to come.